So as you guys may have seen, I did rebrand, in fact, the Marchcraft channel to be a completely different username, which may or may not have changed anything in the first place, but we'll see. It became Agorist 26, which the Agorist word, Greek mythology, refers to a god of luck and opportunity. And he resembles a lot of my personality at the bare minimum. In fact, I don't even know who Agorist even is in Greek mythology. I just know that luck and opportunity resembles how I think in the first place. The 26 resembles obviously the last year I was, well, 8 years old. Because I was 26 only a month or two after making the username on Mumble and XMPP. Which, by the way, was the first time you used that server certificate in the first place. I was merely, maybe not even 25 or 24. Okay, I was at least 26 for 2 or 1 month, like I said, only after making that username. So I was going to be 26 for the rest of the year. And even after halfway, I still kept using 26, Sayers26 actually, the username, instead of Marchcraft to resemble other parts of my content. I didn't even change the Marchcraft brand on YouTube and BitChute until way, way later. Like BitChute, I think I changed until like 4 to 6 months until my 27th birthday. And then finally the very last month on YouTube until I turned 27. So there's a bit of history already with that. And as you can imagine, there's even a bit of a personal channel related intent with this. Like even with the Tony Cashman channel on the personal channel and the Tony Cashman channel on the main. And let alone Diggs, Deer Skill, and Glow Spinner. I don't mean to like bore you with too much trivia and channel lore from a guy you don't even know really, or even if you do know me as well. Whether you know me well or not, but there you go. It's like, no matter who you are, for that matter. Family, friends, name it. Audience, viewers, whatever. As this is an Agorist-related channel, Agorist Class Theory, and even just related shitpost memes and all that. I don't mean to bore you with anything else like that in particular, but that's the idea. It's like, that's the history of between Marchcraft and Sayers26, and that's what I'll say about that for now. So, if I call it Sayers26, it's not because I'm not Marchcraft, it's not because I don't know what I'm doing. It's a rebrand for a reason. I wanted to make different content in spite of what I did with stop motion animation on this channel or not. But because it wasn't me focused on video essays, including anarchism and internet memes, that was the point. So as for another news, yes, this is just a bland video with me putting the incubator ghost in the middle of the screen. Like I didn't rebrand that anyways, but I did. Spooky, right? But there's a bit of childhood trauma I can address right now. There's a bit, if I even have to, because I do on the main channel. But there's a bit I want to discuss without using a VTuber model. Maybe next time I use a VTuber model. We'll see. Because I'm getting good at VTuber software, but a little bit. With where I keep preferring to passionately try to shit out the money I keep preferring to use compared to other financial issues on any scale, political, scientific, or spiritual, whatever else. I was gonna title this video, can you be? Oh yeah, this is okay. So this is what the main topic of this video is gonna be so far, at least. Can you be an agorist with spirituality, featuring Nofap and Semen Retention? That's literally the title of the video. If I don't title that, I don't know why anymore. But can you still be an anarchist with spirituality, featuring Nofap? And I'm going to say right off the bat, my simple answer is yes, because I am all three of those things combined. I am someone who has tried to be both the retentionist and the spiritualist in spite of my non-political beliefs. And it's like, there you go. That's how I have this whole video set for between like 9 to 14 minutes. So I'm not trying to cap for time, pen for time, but it's different. So, and even that's only been like 3.5 minutes. But maybe it'll just be shorter. We'll see. I have tried to prove to the economy that you can, and I want to get this content as soon as I can because I'm gonna be busy on the main channel anyways. But I tried to make an impression about, because this is clearly a point to be proven for me, because I always have a point to prove. When one of my other peers and friends say like never compare science, politics, and religion, and this is one of the reasons why, never compare science, politics, and religion in any way ever. That can be me forcing that to be the perspective of projection, because it doesn't have to be projection for them. Maybe they are trying to think they're giving me good advice, but if it was good advice, it would already have worked. For me, already, it didn't ever. Because I was already evidence that was possible. That you could be in science, politics, and religion in comparable and contrastable, conceived to be relevant and relative ways. And that's not the weird guy who talks about abstract philosophy on his main channel all the time, as if philosophy couldn't be abstract, but it's like, or is it already? But there you go. And my examples were indeed not science for Nofap and Semen Retention, politics for Agorist Class Theory, and spirituality for the law of manifestation. And that it's been like that for the longest time, or not even longer than that, but like literally 2 years at the most. Well, then whatever. But still, like at the most, that's when I could see those things, and I was like, yep, there you go. Science, politics, religion, compared, contrasted, right? Do I have to only be right about that though? Of course not, because when you see like things like agorism, people trying to debunk other political ideologies, and even when ideological people compare ideologies and they think they know what they're doing, maybe they do, but when anarchists in general think that they know what principles are consistently, which is what they think they are, and I don't know if I'm debunking that the right way, but when they say consistent principles are the point, and I think that consistency and logic is the point, and when other people are like, but you still have to not let your guys get the best of you, because between a desperate anarchist and a aloof spiritualist, can you really blame me, like, for actually wanting to be both and maintain both? Like, there is one, this is on topic by the way, there is one argument that you cannot be a spiritual agorist because the whole point of determinism and free will is to surrender all control, and that in itself is a flawed belief. It's like, how did you get that far? And I'm not trying to call my friends out too much on this, but how did you get that far as either a not atheist, not necessarily agnostic, not necessarily theist, but how did you get that far with any other form of rationality, putting a conceding blanket umbrella for how you see religion, spirituality, and anarchism and the state or government and politics? It's like, how did you get that far? Like, why would you have to put all that under a blanket anyways? It's like, basically, let me just put word for word what they said. It's like, so they this is a little not too personal, but they accidentally thought they saw a tarot card on the floor, and I made a joke about the fool, and they basically said, well, you see, and again, this is not the, if he's watching this video right now, I'm sorry, but I called out another person on from the spiritual community as well on this channel. I called out another spiritual manifestation teacher from the spiritual community a month or two ago on another video. You probably know what that one is about. Like, that's one of the ones where I'm wearing my sunglasses, and I'm talking about when can boundaries be silly. And so this is not my first time calling out my friends and family, but I'll even call out some other family on my main channel. But that's for another day, I guess, if even recently, very super recently actually. But so anyway, she says that, well, to be honest with you, the spirituality that I know, and I'm putting words in his mouth, so I'm sorry, but like the spirituality he happens to know, he's basically saying that determinism, because he's saying that in order to be spiritual, you're already complying with the idea that determinism, apart from free will, is going to surrender all control, and that's not literally how agorism works. Is that agorism is the realization that you have control no matter what, and to have no control is to be against the idea of free will, and therefore you can't be an agorist spiritualist. And I'm like, I'm stepping on eggshells with this guy. I'm stepping on them eggshells. It's like, no fucking way you think like that. Now I have to respect you, even if it's not true. And it's like, how do you deal with that? Those boundaries can be silly. Like, not even the boundaries of the other person from the spiritual community. Like, I was talking about the Can Boundaries Be Silly video. But, like, because I was very nuancing that a little bit. I didn't want to be disrespectful or you can get kicked out of the community. But with this other person from the Agorist community, I'm like, this can't just be me, dude. This cannot just be me. How is it possible that you think like this? And to be fair, we have other people who are too Buddhist. And again, another person I'm coming out right now for that matter is like another person I know in the other Agorist community, where we can be too Buddhistic, too subjective, and too in line with meditative practices, which are good in their own right already, more than we believe even then, and then still be surrendering too much control. I get that. But it's like, but why do you think determinism is the whole point of spirituality? And why do you even concede that determinism, apart and in spite of free will, is that you surrender all control? Those are too many concessions. It's like, so that's just with spirituality alone. Then you bring it back to Agorist Class Theory, and you're like, okay, but then what part of Agorist Class Theory is assuming too much control, or even the control you already have, right? So again, I'm not saying it's only the case that you can only compare science, politics, and religion, let alone Nofap and Semen Retention. But again, for like the porn addiction community and even the self-improvement community, it's not like that as always. But you even have people like BASSFzz from BASSFzz, that one black guy who's like, he's a black intellectual through and through, but not gonna lie. But when he talks about Hamza and D'Angelo Wallace and Nico O'Brien and some other people in the YouTube space, and he's like, he genuinely knows what he's talking about. But sorry, Zarius, BASSFzz, even you can be a little disingenuous. It's like, you can't only be right about some of the things you say, right? Same story with some of my other friends and teachers. It's like spiritual or agorist. It's like, they can't only be fucking right. And it's just, they have consistent principles as it's supposed to be, They have some really good psychological input, and some of the things they know on some spiritual levels they do know well, but particularly with psychology and with basic, like, well, not even just if I call it basic, I'd be shoot myself in the foot. But I know some basics as well, but different concepts, I guess. But interacting with a lot of my friends, not just the Agorist community, helped me realize that there's so much you can delve into on a psychological level, and even a truly logical level, without nearly touching spirituality. And that helped me also realize that even if some other teachers, like, I will say his name for the question, Richmond Lopp, when he says that spirituality is in every community and should be in every community, he's not selling a hard sell. I think he already knows what he's talking about. But Rich Lopp, sadly, if that's supposed to be true, we would not have friends like this that from like anarchist communities that only assume that spirituality shouldn't have to be that far-fetched. And like, it's like, it is such a case that with this one friend who thinks that spirituality is mostly determinism, and that determinism dethrones free will, and effectively makes no one a true anarchist. There you go. Buddhist or not, subjective or not. So I don't know if I'm talking about my butt right now, but that's the idea. With Rich Lopp's spiritual influence with everybody, not just from his own human influence, but even the idea he's expressing. Because not everything he said was true. Like when he said like starseed philosophy, I call it starseed philosophy because that's literally a philosophy. It's like, it doesn't have to be true. Like, not everyone literally is a starseed to even put that bluntly. In fact, there's even a rumor going around that starseeds don't even exist in the first place. And I already believe that strongly. I call it a rumor not because I don't believe in it, but because I still give it a chance to be non-judgmental. And even then, you don't have the judgment passes all the time. Anarchists know this better than anyone else for that matter. Like, in my opinion, it is indeed the anarchists that know that judgment has to pass no matter what. And I'm grateful that they know that. But it's also why I learned from the manifestation community. Like, hell, dude, why do you think my avatar is a ghost? Why do you think it's a ghost, and why do you think it has those lines around it like a Mayan monster? That's not a coincidence, dude. I am a spiritualist. But anyways, it's like a... And this is part of the reason why I saw some of these in my visions, where I was like, oh, I see a blue ghost in my vision. Maybe it's a part of my shadow self. Even that could be Carl Jungian. That could be shadow self and psychology and spiritual and occult and astrology. But for the Agorist Class Theory perspective, it's like, you don't have to be an anarchist who's spiritual. You don't have to be a spiritualist who's anarchist. I am still glad I got to talk about those things with both communities. And I got even easier when I could do Nofap and Semen Retention with other communities. It was like when I could talk about like porn addiction and sexual addiction and rape culture, laws and rules. That's popular with anarchists, obviously, differently, but not even cockroaches, but or even other cancers for that matter. Even the recent events like with the Hamas and other stuff going on in like the Middle East, with the war and all that. That's with anarchists, right? Alone. It could also be spiritualists and nofappers. There are brilliant people from any of the three economies I already mentioned so far, with nofap, manifestation, and anarchy. It's like, that's beautiful. That's who I prefer to be. That multitasking John Appleseed who knows how to do that, the economy thing well. I don't have to only be right that you can compare those three things, but that's why I go with it. My incar's going to approach pretty soon, but here's the thing. I'm not a perfect anarchist. I'm not a perfect retentionist or nofapper. I'm not a perfect spiritual journey path guy thing. It's like, I just make my own decisions, dude. I make my own ends meet, whether I'm a philosopher or not, and whether or not I am who I think I am. Thank you for your time, guys. This has been Sayers26, also known as March Scarf, and I'll see you in another video essay, or meme. Take care. And content. If I put them, click on the top two links for viewer and newest video upload. The bottom two will be my subscribe for the same channel, and for my main channel, actually. Yeah, my main channel will be the bottom right, so if you even want to watch that personally, because I'm not that kind of anarchist apparently. Not even now. Who knows why.